How rich is Donald Trump really? Some say 10 billion. Forbes says closer to 6. His enemies call him broke. And the truth? Well, it depends on which year you're looking at and who you choose to believe. Today, we dive deep into the world of Donald Trump's net worth over 5 decades. From the inheritance he downplays, to the bankruptcies that nearly sank him, to the TV fame that made him rich again, and finally to today's wild ride of true social stock and crypto speculation. But before we dive in, I want you to take a guess. Right now in 2025, how much do you think Donald Trump is actually worth? Leave your number in the comments and then watch through to the end to see how close your guess is to the truth. We start our story with the origins of Trump's wealth. Donald Trump likes to tell the story that he started with a small loan of $1 million from his father. But an investigation by the New York Times in 2018 painted a very different picture. It revealed that Fred Trump, his father, transferred at least $413 million in today's dollars to Donald over his lifetime. Not through a single loan, but through tax maneuvers, trusts, and direct payouts. Fred Trump was a successful developer in Queens and Brooklyn. He owned thousands of middle-class rental units built during the post-war housing boom. He was conservative, methodical, and very rich. Donald, by contrast, was the flashy son who wanted to conquer Manhattan. By the late 1970s, Donald had already benefited from family connections, including being made a salaried executive in his father's company. But he wanted the spotlight, and that spotlight would come in the 1980s. Next, the 1980s boom. Trump Tower opened in 1983 on Fifth Avenue. It was glittering black glass, gold escalators, and pure spectacle. The building wasn't just an office tower, it was a symbol of Donald's arrival in Manhattan high society. In 1982, Donald appeared on the first Forbes 400 list with his father. The family's combined fortune was pegged at $200 million. But behind the scenes, Trump was lobbying Forbes reporters hard. He even called pretending to be his own spokesman, John Barron, exaggerating his wealth to secure a higher ranking. By the late 1980s, Trump was everywhere. He owned the Plaza Hotel, an airline, casinos in Atlantic City, and even a yacht called the Trump Princess. His net worth on paper was said to be billions. In his own mind, he was unstoppable. But the empire was built on debt, and the 1990s were about to expose that. By 1990, Trump owed billions to banks. His Atlantic City casinos were bleeding cash. The Trump Taj Mahal, which had opened in 1990 as the 8th wonder of the world, was drowning in debt. In 1991, the Taj Mahal filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. More casino bankruptcies followed throughout the decade. Trump hotels and casino resorts went public in 1995, raising cash but continuing to lose money. Trump himself avoided personal bankruptcy, but only barely. Banks forced him to sell assets, reduce spending, and live under strict credit agreements. At one point, his personal allowance was reportedly just $450,000 to $50,000 a month, a far cry from the jet-set billionaire image he projected. The truth was brutal. Trump's net worth may have fallen close to zero in the early 1990s. Some estimates even placed him in negative territory. Yet he survived, and he turned financial near ruin into a story of resilience. The late 1990s and early 2000s marked Trump's reinvention. He realized that his name was his most valuable asset. Licensing deals exploded. He slapped Trump on everything: hotels, condos, steaks, vodka, even a university. Few of these products succeeded long-term, but the fees flowed in. Then came the game changer, The Apprentice. Debuting in 2004, the show portrayed Trump as the ultimate businessman. The boardroom, the finger-pointing, the iconic "you're fired." Audiences loved it. According to financial disclosures, The Apprentice and related licensing deals brought Trump $427 million over 14 years. This single show revived his public image and rebuilt his bank account. By the late 2000s, Forbes was estimating Trump's net worth at between $2 to $3 billion. His star was back. In the 2010s, Trump flirted with politics. His finances became more scrutinized. During his 2016 campaign, Forbes estimated his net worth at $4.5 billion. Trump insisted it was over $10 billion. Throughout his election campaign and during his presidency, everyone called for his tax returns to be released, but it never did. Critics pointed out that his valuations of properties were inflated compared to market reality. For example, he valued Trump Tower far higher than comparable sales suggested. Some parts of his empire suffered. Luxury hotels in liberal cities lost business. His brand became divisive. Revenue at his golf courses and hotels dipped. In 2021, after leaving office, Trump fell off the Forbes 400 list for the first time in 25 years. His fortune had dropped to around $2.5 billion. For a man obsessed with rankings, this was a deep blow. Then came the wild card. In 2021, Trump Media and Technology Group launched Truth Social, his alternative to Twitter. In 2024, the company went public through a SPAC under the ticker DJT. Its valuation soared, briefly topping $8 billion. Trump owned roughly half the company through a trust, instantly putting billions on his balance sheet. But here's the catch. Most of those shares were locked up. He couldn't sell them right away, and the stock price was volatile, swinging wildly based on politics, lawsuits, and market hype. As of 2025, Trump's Truth Social stake is often valued around $2 to $3 billion, depending on the day. But is that real money? Not until he sells. Cryptocurrency added yet another unpredictable twist. Trump has leaned into the industry heavily in recent years. Bloomberg reported his crypto activity added at least $620 million to his fortune. But his first foray came earlier. Leading to his second presidency, Trump controversially promoted the launch of a cryptocurrency known as Trump Coin. It was marketed as a way for supporters to rally around him financially, but critics blasted it as a gimmick that blurred the lines between politics and personal profit. While Trump Coin never became a mainstream success, it foreshadowed his current crypto interests. By 2025, his portfolio includes meme coins and NFTs that sometimes spike to insane valuations, creating the illusion of tens of billions in wealth. But like much of Trump's fortune, these are paper gains. Crypto fortunes can disappear as quickly as they appear, which makes them a risky pillar of his net worth. Throughout his career, Trump has faced lawsuits and investigations. In 2025, a New York appeals court overturned a $450 million fraud penalty, instantly boosting his paper fortune. Without that ruling, his net worth might have been cut nearly in half. But legal costs still loom. Trials, settlements, and penalties could eat away at his liquid assets. It's a reminder that net worth isn't just about assets, but also about liabilities. So how much is Trump worth today? Forbes says $5 to $6 billion. Bloomberg sometimes pegs it higher. Trump himself still insists on $10 billion or more. But how trustworthy are these numbers? Forbes admits it often relies on self-reporting and market assumptions. Trump has a long history of exaggerating values. Many of his properties are illiquid. They can't just be sold overnight for their estimated price. The truth, Trump may be asset-rich, but cash-poor. His liquid wealth, the money he can actually spend, might be far smaller than the headlines suggest. So yes, it's possible Trump is actually poorer than we think, even if his name still sits high on wealth rankings. Let's do a present-day breakdown of Trump's wealth. As of 2025, his wealth can be divided into several major categories, each with its own complexities. The single biggest piece of the pie is his stake in Truth Social's parent company, DJT. On paper, this is worth between $2 and $3 billion, depending on the day's stock price. But most of those shares are locked up, and their real-world value only exists if Trump can actually sell them. Real estate remains the backbone of his empire, ranging from Trump Tower in New York to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, as well as golf courses and hotels across the world. These properties may collectively be worth another $2 to $3 billion, but property values can shift quickly depending on interest rates, local demand, and broader economic trends. His brand and licensing business, once booming during the height of The Apprentice, has shrunk considerably. Today, Forbes values the Trump name as a brand at around $100 million, a fraction of what it once generated. Then there is crypto. Reports suggest Trump's digital assets fluctuate wildly, sometimes adding hundreds of millions to his fortune, and at other times barely making a dent. Counting crypto as real wealth is risky, since prices can change overnight. When you add it all up, Trump's fortune lands somewhere between $5 and $6.5 billion. But that headline number doesn't tell the whole story. His assets are not all liquid, they are not all guaranteed, and many depend on volatile markets, which means the usable wealth, the money Trump could actually access quickly, might be much smaller than what the rankings suggest. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Forbes, Bloomberg, or Trump himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because when it comes to Donald Trump's net worth, the only certainty is uncertainty.